This is Amud Yomi Gemara and Shabbos. Daf Ayin Gimel Amud Beis. A learning should be an incredible schos for Shlema of Miriam Ahuva Bas Esther, as well as Tinoik ben Miriam Ahuva. We're holding in the very bottom of Ayin Gimel Amud Aleph at the Mishnah, a very famous Mishnah. We've waited 72 blot, and finally we get to learn what are the 39 Avos Melachos on Shabbos. Says the Mishnah, Avos Melachos Arbam Chazer Achas. The Avos Melachos on Shabbos are 40 minus 1. Hazayreya sowing, planting. V'chayrish plowing, v'koitzer reaping, v'mamer gathering. V'adash thrashing, v'azayra winnowing, v'bayir selecting, atechin grinding. Hamarakit sifting, alosh kneading. Ha'ifeh baking. That is the first 11. We call that the malacha de pas. There's 11 malachas that are utilized in baking bread, baking the lechem aponim, etc. Continues the Mishnah, sharing wool, hamalam no whitening if I'm an so detangling it. Dying it, spinning amizach is mounting the warp that's for the loom, or is a making two heddles are called the piece that you throw back and forth. Weaving two threads. Removing two threads. Tying the knot. Ramatir untying the knot. Sewing two stitches. Hakireya almanas litvar, ripping in order to tear. And those are the 13 malachas involved in creating clothing. So we have the 7 of bread, we have the 13 of clothing, bringing us to 24. Continues the Mishnah, Hasad Tzvi, trapping a deer, Shechtai, Shechting, Hamavshite, skinning, Hamolchol, salting it, Hamabde, Zaire, tanning the hides, Hamachai, smoothing it, Hamachatzai, cutting it. That's the 7 malachas involving creating hides. And finally, is writing 2 letters, erasing to write 2 letters. It's another 2, bring it 9, 13, and 11, which is 33. And the final 6 of building, building, Seiser, demolishing, Mechabe, extinguishing, Vamavir, lighting, Amakib, Patish, the final blow of the hammer, Motzi Rishos Rishos, carrying from one Rishos to the next. Concludes the Mishnah, these are the 39 Avos Melachos. We turn over to Ein Gimel and Beis, and everyone can anticipate the first kasha, the first point that we need to understand anytime we have a Mishnah giving us numbers is Minyan Alamali. Why do I need the number? What purpose is there that the Mishnah tells us it's 39? Says we've learned this already. If you do them all in one helim, in one act of forgetfulness, which we dealt extensively the whole first half of this parak. Continues the Gemara, sowing and plowing. When you listen, you wonder, wait, don't you first plow to sow? And ask the Gemara just that. Michti, says the Gemara. Michti, Michrav Karib Reisha. First you should plow, and then you sow. Answers the Gemara. So listi Charish Vada listi Zereya. Should have listed it as such. Says the Gemara. You know why? Because where was the Tana? The Tana was B'Eretz Yisrael Kai Tizari Berisha, where they first plant Vadi Karchi, and then they plow. And what this means is that they did an extra act of plowing afterwards. Of course, they plowed first. They put the seeds in the ground, but they weren't deep enough and covered it with enough earth. So they will plow again afterwards to cover over everything with dirt. And therefore, that's why the Mishnah listed first planting and then plowing. Continues the Gemara, sowing, pruning, planting, grafting, propagating, literally, all different types of different ways of planting, of growing. Says the Brisa, Kulam Lachazachasein. They're all one malacha. Says the Gemara, my Kamashlan, Shkayach. What's the Chiddush at the one malacha? Explains the Gemara, Kamashlan, Aisa Malachis, Harbe, Min Malacha Achas. One who performs many malachas similar to one malacha. The Chiddush is, Einei Chayev Alachas, is Chayev only one because they're all within one umbrella malacha. This goes back to Samachasam and Aleph. When you do many malachas in one category, you're chayiv one chatas. So the Gemara is teaching us that all these different types of plantings and prunings and grafting, etc., are all malacha achas. You'd only be chayiv one. Continues the Gemara. Zoymer, if you prune chayiv misham naiteya, you're chayiv for planting. V'naiteya v'mavrich, if you plant and you, it's a form of grafting. V'markiv, another form of grafting. Chayiv misham zayreya, sowing. Misham zareya in misham naiteya loi. Says Gemara, how could that be? It should be, why is it not planting? Says Gemara, ima af misham zareya. You're chayiv for both. That if you plant, if you do these other two types of grafting, then he's only chayiv one chatas. Amar Rav Kahana, Zoymer. Now says the Gemara, it's going to depend on how you perform the act. Says the Gemara, if you're Zoymer, if you prune and you need the wood, your sarach leitzim, then you're chayiv shtayim. Why? Number one, cha'achas misham kaitzer, because l'maisa you cut off something that you need. You needed the wood, so you're chayiv. And number two, v'achas misham naiteya, because you planted. Because by cutting off this branch, what does pruning mean? You get rid of the item, allowing the tree to grow greater. Someone who cuts down aspasta, chayiv shtayim, achas misham kaitzer, v'achas misham naiteya. Again, these are different entities that the cutting of them serves this dual purpose. And number one, you got what you need, and number two, the item is stronger and therefore grows better because of it. Continues the Gemara, Veha Chayrish, we're smack in the middle of the Amid. First one in line is Veha Chayrish Tana. Chayrish v'chayve v'chayritz. If you plow, you dig a hole, you make a furrow, kulam malacha zachsim, all within one type of malacha. Amrav sheishes, haisla gav shushes in Natala. Someone has a small mound, and you take away the mound. So now it depends where this mound is. If this mound is in your house, you're chayiv misham baina. Because why do you take off get rid of the mound so you could build? Whereas if it's in your field, basadeh, then you're chayiv misham chayresh. Then it's a form of plowing. Continues the Gemara, if there's a hole and you fill it up with dirt, again, depends where you are. If you're Babayis, you're Chayim Misham Baina. If you're Basadeh, you're Chayim Misham Chayrish. Famous Gemara of someone plows a hole. If someone digs a hole, and he doesn't need anything, he doesn't need the hole, he only wants the dirt. Says Gemara, Pater Aleha, and of course we know what does Pater Aleha mean. It means Chai, it means there's no Daraisa, but there is a Dira Banan. And even according to Rav Yehuda that says you're chayiv aleha. Honey, Mili says the Gemara, that shitas Rav Yehuda is when it is misakein. That's only when there's some level of tikkun, even the fear Rav Yehuda. But high is mekalkal hu. This person is ruining it. V'akaitzer, there's no positive element of it at all. We're 15 lines to the bottom. The first line is high mekalkal hu. Hakaitzer, if someone reaps, tana. Kaitzer, baitzer, goider. Moisek, oire, all different types of cutting off an item, reaping grain, cutting grapes, harvesting dates, collecting olives, gathering figs. They're all kulam lachas achase, and again, they're all within one umbrella. If you throw a pisa, you throw a cloud of earth at a palm tree. Va'atar tamri, cut off some dates. Chayiv shtayim achshim toilish, you cut something off. Va'achs misham mefarik. Another one is mefarik. Now, what is mefarik? Mefarik is the tolda of dash, that you're taking something out from the external covering. So over here, by removing the date, by throwing the cloud of earth at the tree, you're chayiv on both. No, that's not a normal way of cutting something off, and therefore there's no daraisa here at all. Hama'amer gathering Amarav Haiman the kind of milcha mi milcha, someone who gathers salt from a salt ditch. Chayiv shama'amer. Now that statement of Abaye is a loaded statement. We pass in that way. And that's the reason why, if you have hundreds of toys scattered and you gather them together, you might think, wait, is that ma'amer? You're gathering together on Shabbos. The answer is no, because his ain imar ella begedule karka. Only things that grow from the ground. V'hadash Tana, Hadash Amenavis Amenafetz, threshing, beating the flax, striking the cat, and Kulam Lachazachasim. Azerber Techin Merakid asks the Gemara, wait, why are we listening? These all as Avos Malachos, I know Zerano and Merakid, they're all the same. You're right that they're all the same, but over here, these are all forms of Bayrer that were in the Mishkan, and therefore, Af al Gav, the Ika, the Dami Allah, even though there's something similar to it, Chashav La, the Mishnah lists them as separate avos malachos. We'll start. Let's just go one step further. It says the Gemara, why don't we also include pounding? That when you make, that was also an act that was done in the Mishkan as creating wheat. They would beat the wheat. So why isn't that listed as well? We're on the top of Vayin and Aleph, says the Gemara Marabayo, because not everyone does it. Shkinani ochal pita b'leiketisha. Rav Amar second teretz. Hamani is the sheet of Rebbe. He damar Rav Zlachas Arman Chazar Achaz v'chashon kodesh havila arbayim. Says the Gemara Shkayach lebechadem yadoch. So get rid of one of the other ones. Why is that a reason not to list it? V'leil kodesh. El machvartik in the bayah, that since not everyone does it, therefore it's not listed as an av b'lacha. Pick it up from here. B'siyata dishmaya.